So in today's video, we're going to be turning the $800 Carolina Skiff that I bought that was sunk into a commercial crabbing boat. And I will tell you why, and I will tell you how. I have a helper on the boat. His name is AJ. You guys have seen him in a lot of videos. AJ is about to turn 18, and he's been helping me since he was 13, I believe. He came to me the other day and he said, hey, I think I want to try crabbing. You know, he's been helping me on the boat for so many years. He wants to kind of try something on his own a little bit in the days that we're not crabbing on the boat. And I said, all right, let's do it. When I was that age, I had a guy named CJ, check his channel out, FV Miss Paula, that did a very similar thing for me. You know, I worked on his boat from the time I was 12 until I was 18. And when I came to him around the age of 16, 17 and said, hey, I think I'd like to look into crabbing, he said, well, we have this old boat, let's fix it up and turn it into a boat where you can go trout line and give you the opportunity. So I'm excited to be able to have somebody that's interested and the means to be able to give somebody a similar opportunity that I was given when I was that age. He showed a lot of initiative. He's learned a lot. He's grown up a lot in the last couple years. I've been really proud of him in terms of work ethic and interest in what we're doing. So I would love to give him the opportunity, and this is the perfect boat to do it. So we bought this boat for $800. This boat got wrecked in a storm. It was on a boat lift on a pier. The storm swept it off of the boat lift, flipped it upside down, and it knocked everything out of it. The whole front end was destroyed. The engine was underwater for, I think it was like a couple weeks. This boat was just upside down on the rocks. We got it and towed it home from way up the bay. Cy over there that you guys saw in the video did a bunch of really good work. He put these cleats on it, fixed the floor. We drained a bunch of water out of it. He fixed the front, built a new platform for it. We got the engine running, built a custom tiller handle for it, and we haven't used it much since then, so I hate to see it sit around, but this will be the perfect starter commercial crabbing boat. I will explain to you kind of the difference between having a boat and a boat that's purpose-built to commercially crab. The method of crabbing that AJ is going to be doing out of this boat is what we call trout lining, which is different from the crab pots that we use on the big boat. So trout lining, basically you have a long line, maybe 600 feet or 1,000 feet or a couple thousand feet, that every 10 feet has a little rubber snood, and you hold a piece of bait, chicken or clams or whatever in the snood, and you lay it on the bottom. All right, with a buoy on each end and anchors. You have a roller, a thing that sticks off the side like an arm. You pick up the line that's on the bottom from the buoy, put it on the roller, and then you drive down the line slowly with a net. And as you drive down the line picks up into the roller, and there's crabs that are just holding on to the bait. And you dip the crabs off of the piece of bait when they get to the surface with your net. You dump them into a box and sort through them. It's a great way to start out because you don't need all the overhead of pots. You can do it by yourself. You can do it out of a small boat, and it's very versatile. So you could put the boat on a trailer and go anywhere you want instead of like what we do with crab pots. We're very limited. We have a lot of restrictions in terms of where we can and can't crab. Plus you need a couple $100,000 rig of boats, license, pots, whatever to do that. But this is kind of how everybody starts. So this is gonna be a really good boat for it because we want the most amount of working space. So when I say we are turning this into a commercial crabbing boat, that means that the main objective of everything on this boat is to be efficient in terms of space, in terms of weight, and also to be durable so it can be used every day and simple enough to fix. No cushions, we don't need any creature comforts, we need the most amount of square footage, and we need the most practical layout for everything. So we may have to take the tiller off. We have a console that came out of this boat originally, but it's really big. I'm thinking that we may try to just build a small podium with a steering wheel that we have off of the old Boston Whaler that we use for the pool boat, and the throttle controls off of the tiller right here. We need a call box, which is a box that you dump the crabs into to sort through. Also have to build a roller arm off the side, and we need to paint the bottom so we can keep it in the water. We'll need to install a bilge pump. We need a new fuel tank. I'm thinking we may want to route the fuel tank and the battery forward to keep some weight forward. I don't know. We're just gonna have to come up with a little bit of a plan, but that's pretty much it. It doesn't need to be very complicated. You want simple, because when things break, which they will, you want to be able to fix them easily. And like I said, the more stuff you have, the more weight, the less crabs you can carry. I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a cool build. And also, if you guys are like looking into how would I set up a boat to go crabbing, this would probably be a good video, because we're gonna do it with just everything we have here. We're gonna try not to ever go to the store. So I'll show you with everything I know about crabbing, all the years I've done it, a lot of little tips and tricks I've learned over the years in terms of building a boat that is gonna be tough enough to stand up to crabbing every day out of it. Oh, also, we're definitely gonna make AJ help us build this boat, because CJ gave me a way worse boat to start and made me build it out of his old porch.
You're welcome.
I'm not kidding. 18-foot Alumacraft, the floor, everything was completely destroyed, and he said, I'm not buying anything. If you want it, you gotta build it. So I had a bunch of this like aluminum and plastic sheathing that was off of something I used as a floor, and I literally used his old deck that was already rotten to put stringers and a floor in this boat. I think it's still like that today. It's still sitting in his yard over there, and they use it to go crab. It's like the boat they still have. So, I mean, and I was like 15 when I did that, but you gotta earn it. You want the opportunity, you gotta earn it. This is AJ. We were putting this boat together for him, so a lot of the things we're gonna build kind of like to his height, to things like that, and kind of to his preference as well. Is there anything on this boat that you think you definitely need or definitely don't need?
Side wheel would be awesome.
A side wheel?
Yeah.
To steer it?
Yep.
That's what we're talking about doing.
Side console.
So, all right, so this thing I think would make a good console, all right? Cut it off. We have this steering wheel.
It's our pontoon that he's trying to use.
I'm going down.
Problem is, with the steering wheel, I'd like to mount it on the top, but we can't because of the cables. But I think if we mount it on the side like this, it's kind of weird. I think that that's gonna be, honestly, the easiest thing, because you can stand right in the gap. Your call box can be right here. You know what I mean? And you can just move the wheel back and forth. Your controls will be either on the top or on the side or something like that. The other benefit is, you know, you're gonna have to come up here to call crabs or whatever. You can get to the steering wheel anywhere in the boat. Yep. So if it was on the back, you know, and you're trying to be up here, you couldn't get to it. But if you're trying to run back to the other side of the line, you can be here doing whatever you gotta do. You can move the wheel without having to keep running back and forth. I think it'll work. It's a little weird, but I think that it's gonna be actually pretty nice when you're like running the line. Yeah. And you're gonna wanna stand and run, right? Like one of the biggest questions in my mind is with the positioning of the roller.
The small boat, you're gonna want it more towards the back.
Yeah, towards the back, but then where do you stand to have the line come up right for you to be able to dip the crabs?
If it's all the way in the back, probably right about there.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. The other thing is that we don't want to put a ton of weight on either side of it. I think we got enough cable for the steering, pretty good about here. That'll give you plenty of room for call box baskets. You can still put your barrels of line all down this end. It'd be nice if we could have the roller that like hooks into this cleat or something. Yep. Or mounts right there on the back and then folds in. We might have to move that cleat forward, I don't know, but you can tie your net, the head of the net to a cleat, and then just boom, crabs right into the box. Keep going back. You can steer, call crabs, do whatever you got to. We have this little thing here, and that gives you running lights, bilge pump, charger.
We got a Garmin 12 for you with live scope.
We'll get a little depth sounder and all that. I think that's a good place to start. And we're definitely gonna make you help us build it. And you're gonna have to do some of the crappiest jobs on the boat because it's the way it is. You gotta earn it. You're gonna definitely be painting the bottom.
What color? It's gonna be purple?
Red. Not
the purple red?
Yeah, it's gonna be that red because we have a pallet of bottom paint from an auction. So it's basically free. On this engine, to get it to work before, we have a homemade tiller that's side right there built, which is super cool. I do hate to get rid of it, but I think a wheel is gonna be better for what we want. When you look up a tiller for one of these, they're like $1,000. We ain't spent $1,000. I think Cy built this for no money because it's all made out of scrap metal, scrap aluminum. And it actually worked really nicely, like shockingly pretty well. So we actually have plans for this tiller for another engine that we have, so it's not gonna go to waste. But I think today, for what we're doing, it's gonna have to come off, unfortunately. Although, it's a beautiful piece of engineering. State-of-the-art, cutting-edge technology. There's our tiller. I think we're gonna put this on a 130 Yamaha and put it on something cool. In the sake of saving space, I don't think we need this. Like I said, less comfort, more crabs. So we're gonna get rid of that for right now. And we now have like 2.5 more feet is what we're looking for. And we've also lightened it up by a little bit. That thing probably weighs 40 pounds, 45, 50 pounds. The wheel will be kind of at the top.
Putting the wheel sideways?
Yeah. It's better that way.
Oh, you took my seat out.
If this is gonna be at the top of it, you think we should make it a little bit taller so that we can mount like a fish finder and all that crap on it
Yeah, yeah.
and make it,
And we can always cut it down.
yeah. I think if we start with 40 inches, that will probably be all right. And we're gonna have to run wires for lights and all that kind of crap.
So I was just talking to AJ about this. I'm very familiar with these skiffs. These older ones, they don't have an access tube. The newer ones, it's all hollow and you can drill anywhere you want as long as you line up to there and shoot it through. This is nothing.
Yeah.
What this boat used to have is a fiberglass channel that'll go up, and how they run the lights is actually inside of here, in the rub rail.
We can run it through the middle. No.
You
have to run a piece of pipe up the in the corner up to the bow. Okay. It would be better to run everything this side because there's going to be less crap going through this side, but the cable has to mount on that side.
Not necessarily. You can screw it on this side and see how that goes through right there. You just put it through the other side. I've never done it, but I'm fairly positive it works.
That thing's huge. Look how tall that thing is. So this will basically be our console, and the wheel will sit like this. All this will be inside of here. We're just trying to figure out distance because when you're trotlining, you need your roller, which is the thing that holds the line, pretty far back in the boat when the boats don't sit real high off the water, because you need that line angle to be right. You know, you need it to be right where you are dipping. Worst case, we could always move it if we have to, but I feel like right about here is probably pretty good. Making some brackets for the console to hold the console down. These are the old legs, the legs off my old call box. We're big into recycling here, if you can't tell. You are going to drill some holes. All right, we already got holes in that one. That's convenient. I'll mark a couple holes, drill holes on those dots with this. Oh, that ain't bad. There's some ferocity in it, but she ain't going nowhere. All right, we have a console welded. I want to make note that Riley did these. Okay.
The gas was off. I didn't know that.
Well, we made it a little tall so I can cut it down if I want to. We just weren't sure. And we got to mount steering, and then we'll get cut holes for the switch panel, and we need the shifter, but we got to figure out where we're going to put the shifter. Probably on the over here, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But this pulls up out of there. You throw some screws so it doesn't fall out, but this thing will not allow water to get in there, but also you can mount stuff on the top. That is very tall. Those are your tools. Well, I told him lay the console down. He said that's too easy. Okay.
I actually want to change it because I'm not putting any pressure into it.
That's why my hole saw's bent.
It's also 1/4 inch thick aluminum.
Yeah, it's very thick. Oh my gosh, I can't. You want to bet that hole's too small? I'm gonna say it's probably too small. I did. That is a very fixable amount. That's way, way, way closer than I thought by basically eyeballing it. Very close. I'll take it. This is the perfect boat to dig through the pile of miscellaneous marine parts and accessories that we have on the shelves and in the attics, and use all that stuff for this thing. We make it like one more blades. Oh, it took an hour. It did not take me an hour.
It took you an hour.
No, it did not. You know what I definitely don't see is AJ anywhere.
Yeah, we're working on his boat.
I know, what the heck? We have been running around all over town to try to find parts. We got new cables, new steering, fuel tank, and some other little odds and ends that we could not source off of other boats or here at the marina. So we'll get to it, start putting some more parts on here. Console's looking good though. All right, so we're using some conduit to run all of our cables and wiring. There will be a piece of pipe across here, but that's a lot better than a bunch of loose wires and cables that are gonna get yanked out. Using what we got.
It almost color matches besides that piece.
Run into here, be good to go. We'll give you guys a little bit of a rundown of what we got done and what we still have to do. We built a console for it, which is just this piece of square aluminum tube, but I think it's gonna make a really nice console because it's small, out of the way. We have not mounted it yet, so we still have to do that. But we do have our controls all mounted on the console, and all the cables ran and replaced, so we have all brand new cables in here. I have a top that goes in here for an access panel. After we wire it and everything, we'll throw some screws, so this will stay. This is also where we're gonna mount our depth finder and chart plotter. We have our steering mounted and cable ran. As you can see, it works. We gotta mess with this piece a little bit. We have some clearance issues with this thing. People are gonna say, you ran the cable on the wrong end. That was on purpose. We flipped it around, all right? Usually your cable comes out of this side because your steering is on this side. But because we are building this boat to crab out of and have the most amount of usable space, we routed the cable around the other side along with all the wiring, all the throttle cables, the fuel line, everything is in this rigging tube. And that is because when we're trout lining, you will have an arm that sticks off the back of the boat on this side. You're gonna stand right here and hold your net to dip the crabs off the line. And then right in front of you, we're gonna have the call box. You don't wanna be tripping over cables and wires and all that stuff that come out of this side when you're trying to work. That also brings me to why our steering wheel is like this. So people are gonna be like, that's ridiculous. Why is your steering wheel facing the starboard side? Well, it's because when you're trout lining like this and you're holding your net, you can just steer, because all you're doing is slight little movements left and right. So you can just hold the net, look down, focus on your line, and move your steering wheel just like this. And then if you are working by yourself and you need to run back to the other side of the line or do whatever, your crabs are up here that need to be called. If you need to come up here, do whatever, you can reach the steering wheel from almost anywhere in the boat that you're working. So if it was on the back side, you'd have to keep running around. But if you want to come up here and call crabs, or you got to move some stuff, you can still get to the steering wheel. And it is a little weird, but any of you guys are familiar with like commercial fishing boats. A lot of times steering, throttle, things like that are set up in ways that are super untraditional because it works the best for the specific thing the boat is doing. Once you get used to it, it's gonna be totally fine. We gotta still mount the rigging tubes to the floor, which I'm still trying to figure out a way to do that. We have to run a couple more wires and everything through here. We have a little panel on the back. I have to mount our red and green running lights. We have to mount our stern light. We gotta hook this light up. This is just to illuminate the deck. And I'm thinking about maybe putting a pole light up either right here or right there with another light that shines down, because when you're trying to run the line in the morning before the sun comes up, it's nice to have a little bit of light. And we don't want it like back here behind where you are, because we don't want it to cast a shadow over the line. So if you cast a shadow over the line, the crabs are going to see your shadow and drop off most of the time. So we want to try to get a light somewhere high and shining down away from where you are, so that we have light to illuminate the line, light for the deck, and then also we're not going to scare the crabs off. This is our trout line roller, or part of it at least. So this is the thing that we will mount on the side of the boat. We're gonna have to build an arm. We're probably gonna build an arm that folds back into the boat so it's not hanging off all the time, and it will probably extend a little, maybe like here. And this is the thing that the line that the crabs are hanging on to will come up. So you'll come up, put your line over top of this roller, and then you'll drive down the line, and your line will roll along here, and as the crabs come up, snoods and clam bags and whatever are gonna hit this rubber so they don't get wrapped around and pull off, and you'll dip the crabs with a net right there. We also gotta hook up the bilge pump. We redid the fuel system, the fuel lines and everything, new primer bulb, a new fuel into here. We switched the fuel water separator from over here to over here. We gotta put a battery in it. We're probably gonna try to mount the battery right here. And we might cut that back piece up and put a little thing that covers it, so you have one more spot to sit, plus the battery's covered. You're not just dropping crap on the battery all day. But one of my favorite things about what we've done so far, the fuel line even runs all the way through this rigging tube, and the fuel line is all the way up there. In a little boat and crabbing boat, you gotta be weight sensitive. I wanted to put the battery all the way forward, but that would have required a couple $100 worth of battery cable, because you have to use pretty hefty cable to run all the way back. So we opted to put the fuel tank up there, run the fuel line all the way through. When you're working on the boat, a lot of your weight's going to be over here, because you're going to have the roller, and then you're also gonna have your call box and your crabs, everything on this side. So we want to put a lot of the other weight on the opposite side of where you're gonna stand, so it kind of helps even the boat out a little bit. These are all little things that most people wouldn't think about, but when you're doing it commercially every day, certain things that you find make a big difference in your day-to-day, so we're trying to cover a lot of those bases right now as we build the boat. Oh, and AJ's got to paint the bottom. That's going to be a really fun job, but first we're going to get everything else done, console mounted, and as CJ says, get to work. All right, as tradition, if you guys have seen the Desperado videos, any of the other videos, we got to make a list on something that we can all see. So, fix the steering, and then we need to pull light, bilge pump, hook up. We need to run wires for all that through the rigging, mount battery, winder. He's got to earn a winder. Okay, mount rig tubes to the floor, mount the console, battery switch, trotline arm, ooh, light, the wire in the switch panel.
I think you should just write it on your arm.
Yeah, but since this cowling rolled around in the bay for like 2 months underwater, we have this perfect writing surface.
Yeah.
Until your left gets too long.
Don't cut your hands on the barnacles, all right? Fuel filter, chart plotter. I ordered a chart plotter, by the way. I got the 5-inch Garmin. Let's get to work. Ain't bad. A white crate would fit. White crate.
Can you go too wide right there too? Now you open up all that room too. So 1, 2.
I was thinking we could cut it down too, even. I got a piece of that same stuff we made the console. You could just put a block of that right there, cut this down, and then mount your battery switch on that block. But if you had that, then you wouldn't need 2 stanchions. You would just need, just that one piece would cover it. You know what I mean? It would hold the whole corner up instead of having 2 little ones. All right, so we cut this, but it's wood cord. I'm going to mix up a little bit of fiberglass resin and an itty bitty little teeny tiny amount of acetone to thin it so that it'll soak into this wood really well. If you put too much acetone, will it not kick? I'm confident it will. And it's not going to be just this exposed glass. I really should have sanded down, wrapped it around, but I'm not that worried about it. I just wanted something to cover the wood. All right, we got to make a trout line arm, the thing that holds the line. It'd be a little trickier than I thought, especially because we're building it out of scrap. All right, so we have made a lot of progress today, actually. We were just basically waiting on electronics because we got to run the transducer. We have to mount the rigging tubes, but it looks really good so far. Everything's not totally fastened in yet. Like I said, we still have to do a few more things and then we'll stick everything where it's got to be. So the other thing that we need for the Carolina Skiff for AJ to go crabbing is a trailer to put it on. And it doesn't go far. A lot of times we just have to pick it up out of the water or take it right down the street. So I forgot, I even had this trailer actually. The OGs will remember this because I bought it with a Boston Whaler on it from John at the marina, sold the Boston Whaler to Wayne the boat guy. He did a bunch of videos with it, and then I got this trailer. It is not a nice trailer, but it will work, I think, for this boat, I'm pretty sure. And the whole point of this thing is that we're trying to keep costs down, you know, kind of an investment in my business, also an investment in AJ a little bit. We're building it out of what we got. We don't want to spend a bunch of money because that's very easy to do with boats. All right, so you guys remember how we're always picking up boards and stuff floating out in the bay? This is why. Pretty sure this is where that came from, and we're gonna have to add that here because these bunks are not really movable and they're too wide for the skiff. So we're gonna try to lay these here and almost use these like guides.
Some more work than we needed to do, but it's not more work than we needed to do, but it's more work than this trailer deserves.
This trailer is not worthy of this entire rod, so we're gonna try to save it.
See if you can get it done with two-thirds of that rod. Burning some stick. It's going right down your boots.
Ow! Yes.
I knew that was gonna happen.
Dang. we went over budget. We didn't necessarily make it better, we just made it different. It's still a crappy trailer, but hopefully these bunks will work. We did a little custom bracketry there. We'll set the boat down, see how she lays. Bottom should sit here, and then the sides kind of almost like a guide. First sea trial, put it in 0.5. It's honestly, it's pretty nice.
Can it do donuts without sinking?
What do you think, AJ?
I like the room.
It's definitely got a lot of room.
Yep.
Not bad. I like it. The real test will be AJ going out and trout lining out of it, but I mean, for a 16-footer, we made the most out of a 16-foot boat. We are adding the finishing touches to AJ's crab boat. Pretty much everything in the boat squared away. The console is installed, electronics installed, top cap on. We have our custom pipe holders. All the piping is in. Now we got to paint the bottom, so they're going to lift it up on the gantry. We got the bottom basically sanded. AJ's hitting it with acetone. We'll start painting. So this is more of our mystery bottom paint from the boat auction. I know people are like, oh, you need barrier coat, this and that. It's a crab boat. None of those things apply to crab boats. The most satisfying moment, pulling the tape. Oh, man. Purple, maroon, red bottom paint-ish, you know, whatever. We don't care, it works. We got our TFL numbers to go crabbing. I'll give you guys a little walk around, and then we're gonna take a crabbing. The engine, which is a Yamaha 40. And this is the motor that was on this boat when I bought it that spent about 2 weeks underwater upside down. The cowling spent a lot longer. We kept the barnacles because I think it's nice patina. We had to replace some parts inside, do a couple oil changes on it. Seems to be running well right now. We put red bottom paint on it. We put this PVC on the side for a working area. So we built this custom trout line roller arm. The fan actually dropped this off, attached to something else, took it apart. Built this out of a conveyor belt, built this thing out of many pieces of angle, and even a little custom bolt thing. Also slides back into here. You could also stick it backwards so it's not in your way. Inside the boat, we put the console in, and this is my favorite part about the boat. It's made out of an 8x8 piece of aluminum square tube. And we got a switch panel back here, all wired up, trim and tilt. Wired to a toggle switch because the one on here doesn't work. We got our steer just like this, hold the net. We're used to running boats with jog sticks and stuff, kind of used to pushing and pulling to steer, so this is not too far off from that. We got some lights that were in the junk pile. We got some antique running lights that were in the junk pile. We have some custom piping, rod holder for gaffs and things like that. We have the fuel line ran all the way up the pipe into here, so it keeps weight further forward on the boat. We actually cut this whole platform down just to give us more working room, but we still have a clear working area. We also relocated the running lights to the console because we didn't want to put one up there and then crush it if we're getting stuff on and off the boat. We have this light new Garmin GPS. This is a Striker 5. Hopefully it should work for everything we need, just minimal chart. And water depth, which is the most important. Running lights, we relocated the fuel filter housing. All of our battery, everything is back here, tucked underneath of this platform, which we also cut down. So this used to go all the way across. We put a battery switch and fuse in here. We have a bilge pump with a float switch. We have our switch panel that also came out of the free whaler. We even made cleats for it. So these are stainless cleats that are made out of bow rail pipe and plate. This is a junkyard build here, folks. Basically took an $800 sunk boat, turned it into a commercial crabbing boat. We're gonna go test it out. AJ, you excited? It's your new crabbing boat. We gave her the name Rock Bottom. Rock Bottom because she sat on the bottom on the rocks.
Like how you mounted the console nice and crooked.
Oh, that's fine. That's ergonomic. What do they call it? Them chairs?
The
Abercrombie chairs or whatever.
Chairs,
Same
yeah.
deal. All right, give her a whirl. It is a little fast and idle.
How many feet are you running?
5.5.
5.5 feet?
Yep.
Well, I should have clarified. How many feet of trout line?
Oh, 600.
You think you're going to catch some crabs off of this?
I think I'll get 2 this run.
If you get 2, I'll pat you on the back.
It's not ideal time to go crabbing right now. We're just testing the boat mostly.
Yeah.
Ooh, there's the crab. You missed him.
That's a big one.
The roller's fine. The roller works well.
Yeah.
Do you think the height is good?
The height's perfect.
Get him? Nice. Carolina is fun.
It's more relaxed. It's more quiet. Making money.
So you think we should probably run it that way?
It's a big crab.
Luke don't catch no crabs like that.
Look at that, this is a giant. Yeah, you can get these crabs, 7333 Furnace Branch Road in Glen Burnie, Saturdays and Sundays. We'll get them shipped anywhere in the country. We're trying to figure out a spot, and the other guy I buy crabs from sent me a pin on X. It's kind of cool. So he just dropped a pin, sent it via text message. We know right where to go. Easy as that. All right, caught some crabs on the new boat. AJ's getting used to it. He's a natural. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next Friday.